8 struggles only INTJs will understand. 1. Communication breakdowns, the constant burden of introverted analysis. Any of the I-based kinds will attest that introversion is a combined concern and also true blessing. Still, someone that pairs introversion with thinking finds themselves continuously discovering as well as rationalizing concepts that do not always comprehend. Introversion, for an INTJ, isn't merely an insular frame of mind. It's more than that. It's an internalized thought process that may never be totally understood by those around you. Connecting with various kinds will typically remain a challenge, as revealing comprehensive, internalized concepts require explanations others might be not able or resistant to understand. Indeed, attempting to provide those descriptions can be somewhat discouraging for an INTJ. 2. Emotional detachment, the appearance of an emotional void. It isn't that you don't experience feeling, but rather that you recognize that mentally based judgments are naturally flawed. You might follow your reactions, definitely, yet you'll likewise seek analytical validation before devoting yourself to a defined experience. While others believe that you do not feel emotion, instead you acknowledge the demand to distance yourself from feelings when necessity determines. This can trigger a continuing sense of range and also seclusion for INTJs, a space between the INTJ and various other types that continue to be a hard gulf to cross. 3. Social challenges, attempting to claim a social niche. The bane of all introverted types is usually encountering social interaction, yet the INTJ deals with one-of-a-kind obstacles with each communication. Social conventions may seem troublesome or, at times, totally international to the INTJ. Because INTJ views are typically based on extensive, deeply internalized evaluation, casual conversations can rapidly seem like piercing inquisitions. This can increase difficulties when an INTJ is attempting to discover a particular social niche that fits their personality and passions, as even those of very comparable attitudes can, at times, make an INTJ feel alienated using their examining or absence of understanding. 4. Building relationships, connecting to people versus being connected to people. Despite their introverted nature, INTJs will certainly, like various other introverted types, still try to create bonds of friendship as well as romance. Nevertheless, these partnerships will frequently be valued based upon just how nearly a close friend or partner's worths, sights, and also ideological backgrounds pair with the INTJs. This can increase difficulties in discovering close friends or partners, as isolation may be advantageous to a less suitable match. 5. Searching for a purpose, requiring a cause. While an INFJ could excessively dedicate themselves to a cause based upon feelings such as a psychological or ethical judgment, an INTJ will typically commit themselves to a cause that feels a lot more reasoned. This can come in numerous forms. However, areas that allow for creative thinking, as well as analysis, are often preferred: academia, regulation, design, and so on. 6. Denying the norm, the need for creativity and solutions. While leading worth is placed on the choosing variable of whether an approach or believed process will act to address trouble, intrinsic gratitude for imagination remains. Equipment or techniques of thinking that attempt to box in those seeking services are commonly checked out with hostility. This hostility can make it challenging for INTJs to excel expertly, as such denials of expert conventions are seldom welcomed. 7. Bountiful leadership, yet rarely used. INTJs are usually taken quiet leaders or leaders in waiting, as they frequently bring attributes valued in management functions. However, INTJs, real introverts, seldom advance to think such roles of their independence. As opposed to being motivated by hubris or greed, an INTJ may be most encouraged by stress at an absence of progress as well as a regarded vacuum of power. The wish to right the course will commonly bring greater allure than just taking the reins of power from the start. 8. The appearance of arrogance, when overthinking betrays you. INTJs' sights are usually based upon the in-depth mind and also split evaluation. When somebody stops working to comprehend a defined principle or suggestion, INTJs may be excessively anxious to attribute the failure to understand to the various other parties as opposed to themselves. Nevertheless, the reality might be that the complexity of the thought process doesn't provide itself to smooth or straight rhetoric. The scourge of all introverted types is commonly facing social communication, but the INTJ faces one-of-a-kind difficulties with each interaction. Because INTJ views are frequently based on comprehensive, deeply internalized evaluation, laid-back conversations can rapidly feel like puncturing inquisitions. While an INFJ may excessively commit themselves to a cause based on feelings such as an emotional or ethical judgment, an INTJ will frequently devote themselves to a cause that feels more reasoned. INTJ's sights are often based on in-depth idea processes as well as split evaluation. When a person stops working to comprehend an explained principle or idea, INTJs might be excessively excited to connect the failure to understand the various other parties instead than themselves.